In 1985, Mayor Jones was named one of Richmond's 10 most outstanding citizens. Mayor Jones serves on many boards and committees. He believes that change and progress start in your own community. He is a senior pastor of First Baptist Church of South Richmond, and you can see examples of his leadership all along Hall Street, such as South Richmond Senior Center, the Amani Center, and the building of affordable housing. Please join me in now as we welcome our mayor, the Honorable Dwight C. Jones.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Come on, good morning. Good morning. It's a really beautiful day out, and it's a good day to be from Church Hill, isn't it? Fulton. And if you wonder where I've been, I was at the Irish Festival, and I have enough green on to prove it. Betty, Squire, thank you so much for inviting me. I think that Betty deserves a round of applause for stepping up and filling the vacancy, and she is doing a good job, and we know that she will continue to do a good job. And I see Delegate Dolores McGuinn coming in, who was in that seat before, and she's been at the Irish Festival as well with all her green on, so we're delighted to see her. And also Jennifer McClellan is coming.
Good to see her. And also Dr. Yvonne Brandon, I want to thank her for allowing me to quit time so that I could go first. I'm having fun as the new mayor of Richmond, and I think that it has been a wonderful opportunity for me come into the situation and try to instill in our city government some modicum of hope and empowerment. We have worked around the theme of communication, cooperation, and collaboration, and we feel that we've been effective in bringing that sense of communication, cooperation, and collaboration to City Hall. I have met with every school board member. Don, good to see you as well. I have met with every city council member. I'm in constant communication with the superintendent of schools and the chief of police, and have weekly meetings with the president and vice president of city council. And it is my belief that we all have the same vested interest in making Richmond a Tier 1 city, a first-class city. And if we work together, we can get more accomplished together than we can not sharing together. One of the things that we did about 3 weeks ago was to withdraw the appeals to the Supreme Court that were costing the city, that has cost the city about $1.2 million for lawsuits that could be settled around the table. And so we look forward to the Charter Commission helping us to fill any voids and take care of any ambiguities in the Charter, but we believe there's a better way to do things and get things done than in the courtroom. I've done a series of new beginnings, and the first thing I needed to do when I got to City Hall was to recognize the work of our employees and to let them know what our ethical expectations were. We have been doing brown bag lunches with all of the departments, and I've told all the employees at City Hall, you can exhale now because we're all in this boat together and we're going to make Richmond a Tier 1 city. I have given the city administration instructions to follow the recommendations of the city auditor. We have embraced the downtown master plan, and we recognize that the citizens were right when they said that the river is our most significant natural resource. And at the end of my 4-year term, I hope that there will be more access to the river, more opportunities for the citizens of our city to enjoy the river. The Shockoe Bottom Entertainment District, we're working hard on making that a safe place, and we are directing our energies toward working with the businesses and residents to make sure that we have a vibrant entertainment district. Regional cooperation is important as well. We cannot be great by ourselves. There will be no great Richmond, there will be no great Henrico, no great Chesterfield. Greatness is going to come as we work together. And so I went into uncharted waters and visited Chesterfield County and was a part of their supervisors meeting, and I understand that that had never been done before. I believe that in the next 2 weeks I'll be visiting Henrico County, and I'm also going to extend my reach to the cities to the south, Hopewell and Petersburg, because with Fort Lee expansion, we have opportunities for cooperation not only with Henrico and with Chesterfield. I've set out a very broad goal, and that goal is that Richmond would become a AAA bond rated city. We are already a AA bond rated city, but I believe that if we want to be a Tier 1 city, we have to have what amounts to be the good housekeeping stamp of approval from the financial institutions. It's going to require us to save a little bit more. It's going to require us to have a larger rainy day fund. It's going to require us to make some difficult spending decisions. But I think that Richmond ought to be able to have a AAA bond rating so that when we talk about Richmond being a great city, we will not have to look at superfluous data, but we'll be able to say the proof is in the pudding. If we were not a great city, we would not have AAA bond rating. Dr. Brandon has been selected as our superintendent, and I'm so very happy that she is in that post. She has the ability to take our school system to the next level, and we are in constant communication, and I believe that we're going to see great strides in the school system during her tenure. And it is my desire, as is hers, to have a world-class school system here in the city of Richmond. I think that we can all be proud when we walk down Broad Street and see the ribbons that have been cut and the development that is taking place. The Northern Roads building has been turned into the Hilton Garden Inn. It's a wonderful renovation that has been very conscious of its historic content. And for those of us who have been around Richmond for a few days and remember eating lunch at the Northern Roads Tea Room, it's nostalgic to go back in there and see the wonderful job that's been done. Not only that, but the Lucky Strike building, the theater building over on the north side. Things are moving well even in the midst of the recession, and we have a lot to be proud of. Infrastructure improvements are taking place. I was in the neighborhood 2 days ago and saw the roundabout that's being put on 25th Street, and there will be many other infrastructure, sidewalk and streetscape improvements as we go along. Finally, let me mention that we are looking to receive all of the stimulus dollars that we can from Washington. We've gotten Patton Boggs, one of the most prestigious companies in America that works in terms of working with the federal government to make sure that we don't miss a single penny that should come to us. We received $10.7 million for the Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority week before last, and we're looking forward to making sure that we get all the money for schools and for public safety and for transportation. One of the problems that we have in Richmond is the combined sewer overflow, CSO, and any money we can get from the feds to help us with that will be money that we will not have to spend on our own to help us solve that problem. So with that being said, I'm delighted to see you, delighted to have the opportunity to work with Betty Squire as your 7th District representative, and I look forward to you joining with me to make Richmond a Tier 1 city, a first-class city. With that being said, if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them at this time. Is that the way the format is? All right, well, I thank you so much. I did such a good job. No other questions? That's wonderful. I didn't think I could come to the 7th District and not ask questions. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to talk about the potential development of Chocolate Bottom. I think everybody that I talked to says the development of Chocolate Bottom is a great idea. It's an embarrassment for us who live over here to drive through a gravel concrete parking lot every time we come to and from work. I think development will bring jobs and taxes. I think that the opposition to the development plan that's been proposed is focused very much on the ballpark, not on the development. The ballpark, the people who have opposed it in the local area have opposed it because of the noise and the concentration of congestion and its abuse of the important history of the lot. Elsewhere, people have opposed it because they think the Boulevard is the right place for a ballpark. I know that development needs a draw. I mean, if you got to have an excuse to build something. And some have proposed that we put a new slavery museum down there. And I think that that is very close to the right idea. The only problem with the museum, which I know is costs money to build it, it costs money to maintain it. And here in Richmond, we've already got a great Black History Museum, which I'm a great member of. What I'd like to propose is the city look at taking the development down there and making the centerpiece of it a park. That would be a great public park that would address the flood problems. But it also would be a draw for tourists to the city, particularly if we use it as a place to interpret the important slavery story that was down there, the important Civil War hospital story that was down there. But you can imagine businesses or houses fronting on a wonderful park area. It also would not create noise and congestion, but it would create new jobs and new taxes, and particularly jobs and taxes that would truly be new to the city because it's tourists. They come from somewhere else, create our jobs, pay our taxes, and then they go home. And it's the cleanest business in the world. Has the city considered putting a park down there that would be devoted to the history of the slavery, the other important history in the bottom? Have you considered that?
That is not on the table. No one has suggested that. I haven't thought of it, but of course, I don't have all the good ideas. So it's good to hear your idea for that. Let me tell you where we are on that. The project has been proposed, and we are in the process of vetting that. I'm sure you've read about the consultants we have working on that. And I need to clear up the fact that this is not a remake of the same consultant study. But this is a consultant study that will vet the fiscal and the financial expedience of the project as before. We want to make sure that what the developers have proposed is true. There's some wonderful assumptions in that proposal that are almost too good to be true. And we want to make sure that we don't make we want to be sure that we don't make a $375 million mistake. And so that's what we're working on that. Now, the Lumpkin jail and the great history that is there, whatever happens is going to have to respect that. We're going to require that that be respected, whether that's in the form of a museum or in the form of some type of creative way to have that done. That's going to have to happen. The idea of a park is something we have not looked at. I will take that back and put it on the table and take a look at it. I have not made any commitment to the proposal in Chaco because I want to make sure that it makes sense. There's no sense in being for or against it until we find out whether it makes sense. So that's where we are. I thank you for putting that on the table, and I will consider it. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Judge, I think there's other citizens that have raised concerns with the same consultants are doing this study and the financial feasibility that did it before they found that it was a positive.
Yes.
So that it wouldn't be too surprising to find out what the results are. So I've heard a lot of outcry from citizens that they're concerned on the bias of that.
Right.
And so for your consideration to change that would be very powerful to the rest as far as feeling really like it would be a valued study.
Thank you very much. I can't change it because it's already been done, but I certainly will have that in my mind as I receive the results to make sure that it's not skewed. Okay. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank you for setting a positive tone for the city.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, my name is Benoni Tonyamaku. I came to the city of Richmond in 2005. I'm actually from Ghana. When I came to the city of Richmond, I went to the Richmond Public Library. I went to fax some document to my sister in London and my children in Ghana. And they told me that they don't have international fund. And I asked, is Richmond not connected to the outside world? They said, no, the only place is King. So I went to King. The former President George W. Bush wrote me a letter. And I wanted my children to frame it and put it in our living hall in Ghana. If I've not achieved anything in America, that was alone satisfactory for me. Because I'm a victim of discrimination, victim of police brutality, and a victim of identity theft, and a victim of all my properties and money stolen in this city. Now, I don't want to draw one attention. And I told the library staff that I was going to connect Richmond to the entire world. And I started my email. And I connected Richmond to the entire world. I was using Benoni Tonyamakuji at hotmail.com. After I did advocacy into North Korea on behalf of former President Bill Clinton, now Secretary of State Hillary, did advocacy to Israel and Lebanon.
So do you have a
No,
question?
I just want to cut it short.
All right.
They destroyed the entire hotmail. I did advocacy on behalf of the Pope. They destroyed the entire mail and changed it to MSNBC network.
Do you want to ask me a question?
I'm going to ask the question now.
All right. Go.
And I opened my Yahoo mail, Tony Amakuji at Yahoo.com. Now, I have a cause. Even the Honorable Senator Jibwa wrote a letter on my behalf to the city. That was last, not during your time, about the destruction of my email server. And if God well prepared document with the videos from, including the city is Sabine Gap, some people will go and destroy it. Now, my question is that I've already sent you some emails. I don't know whether you received them because they were doing it to the same, the former mayor, that they will go and delete my name and put their name on top. That's why some people don't know what I've done in this city. My question is, how do we protect? First, how do we identify hardworking, good people that you can tap as asset that can use in a diverse workplace base? That's number one question. And number two.
What was the first one?
Oh, the first one is, how do you identify? The city will identify committed, law-abiding, hard-working people that they can use as an asset in a diverse work environment. That's my first question.
Diverse what development?
Work environment.
Work environment.
Thank you. Now, my second issue is, how do we protect public information? If government, like if Mayor Jones should send me an email with your bid, then some people in this city will go and destroy the entire site. How do we protect? I took the issue with the library director, Ms. Henderson, and she told me it's a mystery. And I said, how do we resolve the mystery? So, as our new man, it's because of you that I can. I was the one who wrote the school report. And they committed fraud against me. Some organized gang. You look at how after charting a path for the future of our dear students, that they should have a future.
What I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm going to get some information from you, and obviously you need more time than the group has to give. But I'll be more than happy. Listen, I'll be more than happy to meet with you. Okay?
Thank you.
I will be more than happy to meet with you.
Thank you.
And so,
I've been sent there.
Lieutenant Franklin, if you just get the information from them, and I'll meet with you and discuss your particular situation, all right?
Honorable Mayor, arrest me.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I have lived in Richmond now for 5 years, and my husband was in the Navy for 20 years, and so we've never ever settled anywhere for a long time. We've never been connected with the city. And now I really love Richmond, I really feel connected, and I'm glad to be at a meeting such as this. We have been most concerned in our community about the building of Echo Harbour, because it will ruin the view shed, that we have many different visitors who come to see that view. I have been to at least 7 council meetings, and I've heard at least 20 to 30 people stand up and speak against Echo Harbour. And many of them are big organizations like the Virginia Historical Society. And yet every time this same subject keeps coming up, yes, well, Echo Harbour is going to maybe build, or there's going to be an amendment that is, I don't understand. If we are concerned and we speak against this, and the majority of the citizens speak against it, how come the council is voting for it, or seems to vote for this amendment? And it makes me feel like I'm powerless. So I'd like your
Echo Harbor, in my campaign, I made a promise that I would work to embellish the accessibility for the public, for the river, number one, and that I would work to protect view sheds for persons who may be obstructed if anything was built there that obstructed their view. I will continue to do that. I can't make a city council person vote one way or another, but I certainly will use whatever influence I have to make sure that whatever happens there is follows my statement of protecting the river and protecting view sheds. Nothing has come before me since January about Echo Harbor, and so I don't really have any decision that I've had to make. But when that time comes, that's my promise to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask Reverend Ann Washington, the director of this center, if she will come forward and give us a few words.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the Peter Paul Development Center. We are celebrating 30 years in Richmond's East End. Peter Paul was created by a visionary, a man named John Coleman. And if you're an old-timer in Richmond, you know Little Johnny, as he was called. We welcome you. Please feel free to come in and visit us at any time, view the building. If you walk outside, you'll see our Bridging the Gap kids, which are young people that are straight-A students that have come from Martin Luther King Middle School and various schools, working with Tammy Jackson. We are committed to excellence in education. We are an arts center as well as a recreation center, and we also house the Chat Academy. Greetings on behalf of Peter Paul. Will members of the staff please stand? Anyone here from the staff can direct you and tell you more about the center. Unfortunately, I do have to leave for a commitment that started at 10:30, but again, thank you for being here and welcome.
Mayor Jones mentioned some of the elected officials that we have, so I would also like to recognize them. Delegate McQuinn, Delegate McQuinn, you all know her, she's in the back. We have Delegate Jennifer McClellan over here. We have our school board representative, Mr. Don Coleman, here. We have presidents of some of our civic groups. We have Mr. William Andrews, the president of Unity Civic League. We have Mr. Matt Conrad, the president of Union Hill Association. We have Mr. John Johnson of Churchill Association. We have Mr. Spencer Jones of Fulton Family Union. And we also have Ms. Dot Doherty, the secretary to the Richmond Electoral Board. You can stand. Oh, Ms. Mary, okay, Ms. Mary Thompson, the president of New Vision City Association. Did the city come in? Anyone else? Okay, now our next speaker will be Dr. Yvonne Brandon. And pretty much the same thing with Dr. Brandon. I've been knowing her for a very long time. I'm not supposed to say that. She just said long time. I'm not supposed to add anybody or very, but I talk about Dr. Brandon. My son graduated in 1981, and this is his adopted mother, Dr. Brandon. She adopted my son, and she still calls him her boy, even after those years. Dr. Brandon joined the facility of Richmond Public Schools in August of 1977. Her professional experiences as a teacher of youth, mentor, guidance counselor, principal, director, and deputy superintendent have allowed her to provide quality leadership and service to students, parents, teachers, administrators, and staff of Richmond. Dr. Brandon has made presentations at the local, state, and national level. Most notably, she provided the insight to the Joint House Staff Committee on the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind in 2006, and provided testimony to the United States Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pension in 2007. Equally important to Dr. Brandon is her community outreach. She is a member of several organizations, including a member of Delta Sigma Theta and a member of Fifth Baptist Church. I invite you now to give your undivided attention to Dr. Brandon, our superintendent. Dr. Brandon.
Good morning, everyone. The Squire has always been a wonderful asset to my career. As a parent, she was remarkably available to us at Huguenot High School, and she modeled that kind of behavior for other people, other parents in the school, and she helped to bring some in. So I thank you. I want to say good morning to Delegate Quinn, who's a friend of Richmond Public Schools, from being a parent and a school board member and a city councilman, and now across the street on Capitol, State Capitol. And Delegate McClellan, thank you also. We've also shared a lot of opportunities to talk about education, something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. I could not begin my conversation without saying thank you to Mr. Don Coleman, our 7th District School Board member. Let's give him a lot of his ability to be very calm, even in some chaotic situations, is most appreciated. Thank you very much. Richmond Public Schools this year is undergoing a transformation. Our motto, our theme this year is a new direction, illuminating the path from competence to excellence. And just what does that mean? It means that we're not satisfied with what we've accomplished. Even though we've made great strides, we still have great strides to go. We have experienced an increase in graduation rate, which has moved about 10 points since last year. But I still worry about the 30% of students that did not graduate on time. We have almost 90% of our schools making state accreditation. But what makes me lie awake at night are the 10% of those schools that have not made it. We have 87% of our schools making AYP, and also the remainder of those schools need to be at that level of distinction as well. In order for us to be a Tier 1 school district, a gold standard school district, we cannot afford to rest on our laurels. Even more important for us is to make sure that you know that we're spending the dollars that you entrust to us in a very efficient manner. And I know there have been lots of studies and recommendations from audits, and we can stand here and debate what those audits say. But I don't want to take that kind of time because I know we have to do better. The audit has provided for us a pathway, some guidelines, some recommendations for us to do things differently. Additionally, there are some things that we are putting in place to accentuate our fiscal responsibility, such as having embraced the EVA procurement process, which is a state process in which we can join in with different organizations within the state and get things for a different price because of economies of scale. We've also embraced the use of energy efficiency programs so that we can make sure that we're saving money and being as kind to our environment as possible. We had an early budget process. If you recall, some of you were at Shenandoah Elementary School very early in the fall when I started having community meetings because I wanted to hear from you before we even put a line on a piece of paper regarding our budget. And most of you gave lots and lots of helpful suggestions that we incorporated in our conversation about our budget. Our budget is has been approved by the school board, but we still have to have approval by the mayor and the city council. Right now, we received a little over $7 million from the governor within the stimulus package in order to offset the budget shortfalls of the state. With those dollars, we were able to instead of increasing the pupil-teacher ratio, we were able to maintain those ratios where they are now. Therefore, we will not have to look at reduction of staff teachers. We wanted to make sure that our classroom atmosphere and the student achievement levels were preserved. So we put that money in and we made some cuts in administration, we made some cuts in other places, but we made sure that our teaching population would remain the same. Our budget also is impacted by the reduction in state sales tax. It's impacted by the reduction in real estate taxes as well. So we're going to have a means of doing more with less. And we have to do that very strategically. We are at the crossroads of excellence, and Mayor Jones stated it perfectly in that a lot of the pieces are aligned for us to do things in a very collaborative manner. Never have we seen the type of support that has come to Richmond Public Schools as a means of having the city council, the school board, the mayor, and the superintendent, and the business community join together, focused on making sure that our City 1 is a Tier 1 city, and our school district is right along with it. We will be engaging in conversations in the future about the City of the Future plan. In the first phase of that plan, Martin Luther King Middle School is scheduled for extensive renovations. The second portion of that plan for phase 1 is a feasibility study that will focus on the Fulton area with respect to whether or not that area is prime for a school building and what kind of school building that should be. So we will be focused on those things with respect to the East End. We have engaged in launching several pilot programs this year. One that we launched at MLK is the Individual Learning Plan. And I don't know if you have anybody in here who has a child at MLK? Okay. Our school board members. This Individual Learning Plan is comprised of a computer-based, internet-based program called Career Cruising, in which students will sit down and look at their progress from 6th grade through 9th grade and and talk about the things that they like to do. We will place those on that computer program and pull in all of the assessments that that child has engaged in over a period of time, and be able to have very informed conversation about career plans very early in a child's educational career, so that they can make selections for classes, they can get involved in all kinds of activities, they can be connected with mentors and volunteers that are parallel to their interests. And this will be reviewed with teachers and career coaches that are at each school, as well as the guidance counselors as they move through the grades. And why are we doing this? This is one step in increasing the graduation rate in the East End area, in the 7th district. It is another step to decreasing the dropout rates in the 7th district. We need to have lots of information. We need to have lots of people around students to guide them, to help them navigate through the system so that they can be successful. Because for every child who graduates from Richmond Public Schools or any school, they contribute to our economic status. This is an economically driven process. A high school student with a diploma makes on average $24,000. A student with less than a high school diploma makes about $18,000. In looking at those numbers, we know that the amount of taxes that go into our overall coffers from those numbers must be increased. And how do we increase it? We increase it by promoting graduation, continuing education into a 2-year or 4-year or technical institution after graduation, and therefore increasing our economic status. Additional programs that we have in place are our core knowledge academies, Spanish immersion academies, and our Go Green campaign. You will see in each school a recycling bin, and that recycling bin is used to take paper, either newspaper or white paper from the schools as well as the community, and process that for recycling. The schools get money as a result of that recycling process, and we have asked them to generously contribute from each school into a fund that would go as a donation to the Children's Hospital from the city. We want to encourage our kids to start building character in small ways, and one small way is to learn how to give back. That doesn't require that you are rich. It doesn't require that you have all of the finest things in life. It requires giving back your time and finding ways to make a difference in our society. Additional things that we put into place are our character education programs, the middle school foreign language program, the Center for Neighborhood Enterprise. You've probably seen that as a collaboration with the police department and with the community at George Witt. It is my very strong hope and doing all that I can to get this same program over at Armstrong High School. This program has been successful in helping students to understand there are different ways of solving problems rather than violence. It has helped to calm the school environment down, and it has increased the ability for students to engage in instruction. And I think I've done just a quick overview, and I'll open the floor up for questions at this point. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Brandon, in the previous administration, some of the schools have been targeted for closing, and I think one of them was Bellevue Elementary that's on Grace between 23rd and 24th. Do you have any knowledge about that?
That would be a part of the overall feasibility study for a school in Fulton. We know that we cannot serve this entire population by taking a school, an elementary school away without putting something else in its place. So that would be a part of the overall feasibility study. It has not been decided just yet. Any other questions? Well, I'd like to thank Ms. Mary Thompson. Ms. Thompson is not only a community leader, but she also is a member of VEOP and REOP. She once was one of our employees, but she always comes back to help our office professionals in professional development, as well as she puts her her hands and her energies into making sure that they have a very, very strong unit in Richmond that has received awards from the state and the national. Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Yesterday I received an email from the office of Congressman Bobby Scott, and he was aware of our meeting today, and he said that he would not be able to make it, but he wanted to send one of his staff members to be with us. So I'm going to ask Nikichi George Winkleton, may I you please stand? You have any words you'd like to bring from the Congressman? Okay, this is Nikichi from Congressman Scott's office. Do thank him for that, please. Okay, now I'm going to ask Sergeant Dole to come from our police department, and he will give us some stats and some information about our district.
Good morning. I'm not going to try to bore you with a long-winded speech. Don't want to put anybody to sleep. So I'll go over a few things fairly quickly, and I'll be available for any questions you may have afterwards. The stats in the city last year were at the record low numbers. This year we're right along the same numbers so far throughout the city. I don't have specific numbers for each individual area that you all are living in, but this year the numbers look fairly similar. We don't have that huge decrease like we had last year as of right now, but the citywide we're still looking very good, still at record low numbers. Biggest key, I think, and I'd like to thank everybody here for being involved, is that the involvement of citizens, I think, is the biggest key for the reduction that we've had in the past years. It's very evident, especially in the homicide rate. Back, those of you who were here in the mid to late 90s, there were years where close to 200 homicides. And last year were 31 homicides. It's a huge decrease in about a 10-year span. And the detectives that worked back then were just as hard working as the detectives that were working last year. But what happened was, over the past few years, the citizens have come forward with a lot of information, and instead of hiding behind the door or being afraid of what may happen to them, they step forward and step up. And you guys are the cream of the top of those people, because you not only call in and you see something, but you also come out to the meetings and try to get involved. So I want to thank you all, and you guys are the biggest components in that reduction of crime in the past 3 or 4 years. Just give you 2 instances of things that we're doing in the precinct as of lately. Yesterday and throughout this year, we've done numerous prostitution things. Up on T Street, just a few blocks away, it's a large prostitution area. And 2 or 3 times this year, the first precinct organized a prostitution sting. This Friday, they did a reversal where they had female officers posed as prostitutes, and I don't know how successful they were. I just didn't even remember from yesterday, but they were out there all day long, and I'm sure they got at least a few people. And another thing the precinct has done recently, we had a number of stolen license plates in the South Bob area and Old Manchester area, just south of the James River along Wall Street. And it seemed like it was just clear pattern at the same time of day, so it looked like it would be one person or a group of person that was involved. So we assigned a couple officers to patrol the area and keep a lookout. They spotted someone that was suspicious, stopped them. The detectives were able to follow our area and recover all the stolen license plates. I think it was 20-some actual offense. And it's that type of thing that the police department's doing now. They think differently than we used to. We used to, back in the late 90s, just take a report and move on. But now we're thinking about how to actually stop these reports from coming in advance. So when we see patterns like that, we try to attack them and eliminate the problems. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to address anything.
I don't have a question, but I want to thank you all for the 30-day effort along Benefit Street corridor. It's always a pleasant thing to have that activity slow down.
And we love to hear the comments. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank you for the precinct for getting the signs and regarding skateboarding. I know that was a difficult thing on it for 30 days, so thank you ever so much. And
let the patrolmen know what areas to focus on. So if you have a problem area, like on Greenville Street, a lot of times there's a lot of homeless or drunk people hanging out. If there's an increase or they started congregating someplace behind the building or leaving trash somewhere, let us know, and that'll get filtered right down to us, and the officers will try to address those issues as best they can. Any further questions? Thank you for your hospitality.
Index cards on the table back there. Sam will pass it around. If you have any concerns that you would like for us to look into, please jot them down and put your name, telephone number, or either you can send us an email. We're going to try very, very hard to answer any questions that you may have. And one of the things that I said in my questionnaire that I would be visible in the community. So if something is going on and you would like for me to be there, please let me know, and I will try to arrange my schedule so that I will be there. One of the big issues coming up is the budget. Mayor Jones will present his budget this Thursday at 2 p.m. in City Council chambers. And of course, you are invited to come and be a part of that. But I also have the budget work sessions, and I'll be very happy to pass that information on to you. I talked with Councilman Robinson last night, and they're going to have an open forum on the budget, and that's going to be April the 4th at the Police Academy from 11 to 1. And they will be explaining the budget and have answer your questions at that point. Again, that's on April the 4th at the Police Academy in open forum from 11 to 1. Now the regular budget work sessions will be April the 7th, 8th, and 9th at 2 p.m. at City Chambers, City Council Chambers, I should say. That's the 7th, 8th, and 9th at 2 p.m. And then on Tuesday the 14th and Wednesday the 15th, again at 2 p.m. But Thursday the 16th, it will be at 2:30 p.m. And you are welcome. We encourage you to come to these budget meetings as soon as we can find out what issue will be discussed on what day. I will pass that information on to the president, or please feel free to call my office if we miss you by chance and you want to address a certain issue. You can reach us at 646-5429, 646-5429, or 646-3012. Okay? Is there any concerns that anyone will have? We've got plenty of refreshments back there, so please do not leave until you have something. Okay, Delegate Coleman, would you like to give an update or anything on anything going on in the General Assembly? Okay, please feel free.
Good morning, everybody. I know you have a lot of speakers, so I didn't plan to speak, but I did bring and left at the table in the back. This session highlights and outlines some of the major issues that the General Assembly addressed through our adjournment on February 28th. What's going on now is the governor had 30 days to review any bills that we passed, including the budget, make any amendments or vetoes, and we will come back on April 8th and address the governor's actions, and then I'll have another report after that that I'll send out to the community. I just want everybody to be sure to pick up one of these in the back of the room, and if you have any questions about anything that came before the General Assembly, I put my card with my phone number and my email, and I'd be happy to take them at your convenience. Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
I want to understand why you voted the way you did regarding the
would. I don't live there, I have no concerns about it. I mean, I have concerns about it only because I felt like the neighborhood knows what it wants and it needs, and it's there 24/7. And I don't want to take what the newspaper said as the reason that you voted for it because Dolores did. Because she was our city council person, she never said yes or no to Oakwood. She never publicly said. So to have that be the reason, I want to understand you and the way you voted because I want to support you from going forward.
Thank you for that. I met with the developer and I also met with the citizens. And I think as even as an appointed member of council, I have the right to look at all the data and vote my conscience. And that's what I did after looking at all the approval that had been given by the zoning and what have you. They didn't ask for any special permit on anything, and it was zoned for that particular area. And I respect the rights of people, property rights of people. So that was a crust of my vote. Yes, I did talk to Dolores. I talked to several people in the community. Like I said, I met with the citizens there, and I based my decision on the information that I gathered on that issue.
And please know the reason why I'm asking that is because we have some huge projects coming, Echo Harbor and the stadium. And the feeling amongst a lot of us is if you're a developer and you can play the city game, that's more important than what the residents feel. So I really needed to have it from you as to when, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm not aware of games that are being played, but for those of you that don't know me, you will find that I am a no-nonsense person. You know, I'm seeing heads nodding here. The people that know me, you will find out that that's the way I am. I do not tell you one thing and do another. I was asked how I was going to vote, and like I said, I have information from the citizen and the developer. I told them that I needed my time to do my research and to study the issue before I would tell them that. There's a hand over here. Yes.
And budget deliberations are in our near future, but I understand there is not any money currently to board up vacant and abandoned buildings.
That is correct. That statement was made at the CAPS meeting, Mr. Andrews, week before last. That is a correct statement.
Well, as a possible public safety issue, is there any way the city might put in some funds to take care of some of those boarding ups prior to July?
I'm going to ask you to please write your questions down. I was at a meeting the other night at Union Hill, and there was an officer there that was able to eke out a little bit of money to do one particular house that was just such an eyesore. So I'm going to ask you to please write that question down. Tell me the specific location that you're referring to, or locations. I can't tell you so many, and I will see if there's anything that can be done. But that is a true statement. It was made at the CAPS meeting that there is no money at this particular time.
If I board up a big house next week, that person will come speak with me.
John said if he boarded up a house and get arrested for trespassing when I try to speak on his behalf, I'm going to ask you, please do not do anything unlawful. Please do not.
My name is Spencer III. I represent the Golden Family Union Committee. We're in the process of trying to save 48 and 4900 block for Fulton Memorial Park. We feel just as this lady is saying, we've been ignored for over 30-some years in Fulton. And there's no senior facility, there's no school, there's no recreation facility for our youth. We are trying to work with Ms. Squire and the Richmond Redevelopment Housing Authority, but I want everybody here to know that the citizens of Fulton never saw or were a part of the plan for the 71 houses that are to be built on this property. So I want to extend a hand to Ms. Squire because this is the first time we've been able to get somebody that will work with us and let you know exactly what's going on from this point forward. And I agree exactly with what you're saying. It's been too long in this city, and not only black folks, but white folks, everybody have not been able to have their wishes heard and addressed. And thank you so much, Ms. Squire. And we will keep you informed. All of you are welcome. This is the oldest community in Richmond. Fulton history predates Richmond. So to have over 100 blocks destroyed in the oldest community, and there are 2 left, and then to talk about 71 houses being built without any community support, that's what's going on at this particular day, and we are going to change it. Thank you.
Thank you. I met with Mrs. Spencer Jones twice, and we've also talked to Richmond Redevelopment Housing Authority. And when he came in this morning, I told him I got an email like yesterday, and that we would need to meet again real soon because, like I say, you know, I want to be your voice. I cannot guarantee you anything, but I will tell you that I will look into everything that you ask me to. You may not like the answer. You know, I'm only one person, but at least I will try to find the answer for you. And also remember, on council, I'm only one vote. You need 5 to pass any ordinance or anything. I'm only one vote. And I see Mr. Coleman is laughing, the same thing with him. You're only one vote. So, you know, my vote may make a difference if you have a 4-4 tie. Then you can look to me for a vote. It may make a difference. But other than that, I'm just one of 9 people that will be voting. This lady, if you have a hand, I recognize them. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Hester Land, and I'm very concerned about the telephone company. I am a senior citizen, and a lot of things that I on my bill, it got package deal. A whole lot of them things I do not know and don't know nothing about. But yet I have to pay for it. And I want to know, there are a lot of senior citizens out of here that's not able to support bills like that. Especially if you're not using the stuff that's on there.
Okay, I'm going to ask Sam to get your name and a telephone number, and what we can do, maybe one day we can stop by and talk with you, and we will have to have your permission to talk to the people, whoever your carrier will be, that type of thing. So Sam, if you would give her name and address, and we'll see if there's any way that we can assist you with that. Although that is not really a part of city council, but I don't mind meeting with you to see if we can assist you, because there are times that senior citizens really do feel like they are being targeted, you know, and we want to be of service. There was a lady in the back.
My name is Sarah Doncaster. My biggest problem is the drug use.
Okay. We have a police person right here.
I'm a recovered man, and what I'm doing is I done started my own substance abuse outreach program, and I mainly came to this meeting because I want some help and assist addicts to try to get their life together. I mean, because too much stress going on in the family court. I stay to myself, but I see stuff right in front of me that doesn't make sense. We got children walking around there hungry, knocking on people's doors, asking to be fed, because mamas are selling the food out of their house. And I mean, this is getting ridiculous. This has been going on. This has been going on almost a year and a half now. And I talked to Ms. Woolridge about starting a program, you know, going and talking to parents about what was going on in their household. Because I know what it's like to be out there in that type of world. Me being the way I am, being a clean and sober and know the necessary steps to help those people in need. I want some assistance and help me.
I'm going to ask you to give Sam your name and telephone number, okay, and we will see if there's any way that we can assist you. We have Sergeant Doe with us, and I don't know if there's any services that the police department have, but anyway, we will check out and see what assistance that we can offer.
Yeah, and the The other morning, about 2 in the morning, because I'm a heart patient, I can't go up my steps, and I sleep downstairs. Right on the back of me, he got the shoe. And when I got it the next morning, gun cases laying right in the walkway where I was walking, on the back side of my apartment. And I was wondering why he was so close. I found 6 gun cases right by my avenue, back door, right there in between our apartments.
I'm going to ask you, please, if you observe anything like that, to call 911, please. So that the police department, the other one to handle that. We appreciate that. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you so much, and I know all of them because I've been working in the community for many, many years, so I know all of them. In fact, I worked on a couple of the campaigns, so I know them, so I will definitely stay in touch with them. Sure.
Could you tell me why the city would spend $100,000 to have Davenport and Company and then a couple of other companies to do a report that they've just done? I read about that in the paper, and I read the paper, that doesn't sense to me.
The mayor addressed that briefly. He wants to make sure that he has all the data before him on that $363 million project. He doesn't have $363 million mistake, as he said earlier. So that's why he's going to be concerned was raised about getting the same group that did the initial study. And he said he couldn't change it now, but he would keep that in mind if something like this comes up in the future.
I wonder why they did it in the first place.
Well, now, I can't speak for the mayor, I'm sorry to say, but if you want to voice your concern, please just really give him a call. Okay? All right. Well, please, before you, Mr. Cole, would you like to say something? Oh, thank you.
First of all, I want you all to give yourself a hand for being here. It's absolutely exciting to see the community so invested. How many of you, this is your first time in this facility? Aren't we a blessed community? This is an amazing facility. I've had the opportunity to be here a few times. How many saw today's paper, front page? Armstrong High School, a positive report. Let's clap our hands for that. Really good students. My friend Tori Evans and I have been working real closely with the principal there, Mr. Roseborough. So I want to put a date out to you where we're going to need your support. And we would be very excited if we had this turnout at what I'm about to tell you. On April the 29th at 6 p.m., Armstrong High School is going to have a community open house. And what we're really trying to do is to really expose to the community the tremendous asset that school is to this community. But one of the ways that happens is that people come in and really find out the things that are going on. So that's April 29th at 6 p.m. I will be coming around and talking to all these wonderful civic association presidents to try to encourage you, to encourage your members to come out. But it's going to be a great opportunity to hear about the school, to see things that are going on at the school. So we're looking to have a tremendous program that night. So it's April the 29th, 6 p.m., open house for Armstrong High School. One last thing, Armstrong High School is the only comprehensive high school for this 7th district. Yeah, it's our high school. We also have Franklin Military Academy, but that's a specialty school. So, I mean, this is the high school that we as a community need to see excel. And I believe the best way for that to happen is just like here today, when the community gets involved and gets invested. So, thank you so much.
Okay, again, I want to thank you all for coming out. Our meeting next month will be April the 25th. And we haven't selected the location yet, but we already have confirmation of the Commonwealth Attorney, Mr. Michael Perrin, and the Sheriff, Mr. C.T. Woody, and we are trying to get the Chief of Police so that we can have a public safety meeting. Yes, sir.
I would like to suggest that the next meeting be held at the Robinson Theater at Q and 29. I recently wrote it. It's a wonderful film.
I was there for the grand opening. Thank you. Okay. Well, again, before you leave, please go inside. We have juice, we have coffee, we have water, we have pastries, and I hope everyone has signed up so that we will have a record of your being here. And the festival is going on. I hope you take advantage of that. Go out there. Health fair that also being told on right there. So there's many activities. So please enjoy today and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you.